So here's the dream. How do you make passive income doing nothing? That's what I'm going to talk about in this video today. And let's be honest, is that even possible? That's what I'll dive into. All right, so how do you make passive income doing absolutely nothing, right? I mean, isn't that the dream? Like you just roll out of bed, you wake up, you look at your computer, you say, oh look, I made more money. It just magically hopped into my account. Well, I'm here to tell you guys, that is kind of a pipe dream. It's kind of too good to be true. There are some ways you can kind of do it and get close to it. And that's what I want to talk about today is what are those best ways to do it. I'm not going to lie to you or anything. I'm going to tell you straight up how you can actually create passive income doing nothing. But it may not be the answer you expect. So be sure to stay until the end. Okay, so can I be honest with you, right? Passive income doing nothing is a bunch of BS, right? It's crap. It's not true. It's so not true. There is nothing in life that's ever been good where you try to get something for nothing. That's called gambling. And even gambling, you still have to work at it. You still have to do stuff, right? So even gambling isn't passive, right? So let's be honest. Passive income where you just roll out of bed and you wake up and money just shows up in your account and you did nothing for it is an absolute lie. Even liars, even people that steal, still have to work for it, right? So just get that out of your head. Don't think that you can just do nothing and money will show up. It does not happen in the real world ever, ever. I'm telling you, it just does not happen. Even those people that say it does, still what they may not tell you is up front they did a lot of things to get that money. So for example, in business, people will say, oh yeah, I've got this Amazon business or this online business and it just sells for itself. Really? Is that how it started? Or did you have to build a site? You had to build all the systems and tools and all the contacts and everything else to make sure that you can finally get to the point where that starts to happen. I guarantee they work and they slaved and they made nothing in the process while they're doing that. So remember, even in business, and business is one of my favorite things to invest in or put my time and energy into. Business is a great way to make good residual income, but you'll never be truly passive where it takes no work out of your life, where it requires nothing out of you. It just doesn't exist. That's a violation of all natural laws, right? It's the law of the harvest. You know, you talk about you can only sow what you reap. You can't reap something that you've never sowed before, right? And if this is in plain language, you can't take an apple from an apple tree if you never planted the apple tree in the first place. You got to at least plant the tree, nourish it, water it, and then yes, it can start sprouting into great things for you. But you got to start by at least planting that seed, planting that tree, make sure you start to work on it and build it and grow it. That's true in business, that's true even in passive income with real estate, and that's definitely true with anything else in life. You've got to put in that effort and that work. All right, so now I've addressed the BS of all the influencers and TikTokers that tell you you can absolutely just do nothing and make money. Let's talk about how you can actually do it better. Now, there's one of two things you can do. You can either exchange labor, or which is like time and energy, or you exchange money. One of these two things will be required for you. Now, I've got several videos where we talk about what are ways you can create passive income with as little as like $1,000 or whatever it might be, right? Heck, there's even ways you can actually exchange labor and service, maybe come out with no money out of pocket, but still do that. For example, I mentioned like doing a partnership. You could be in a partnership with someone else that's a real estate investor, but maybe they're getting to the later in their years like I'm getting into, right? But they just say, you know, I'm just tired of doing all the work. I want to kind of relax. I want to have my freedom, my time. I don't have all the energy and hustle and grind. But you do. Maybe you got the energy, the hustle. You're willing to do whatever it takes. This is a great opportunity for you. Find a partnership, find a partner, a mentor, someone that's willing to walk with you, help you avoid all the mistakes and pitfalls that you would have to learn on your own. Use them. Go in a partnership with them. Offer sweat equity. Say, listen, I go into this deal. Let's create some equity together. Let's create a partnership together. I do a lot of the work. You're the financer. You're the one backing up with the money, but I'm doing the work. I'm actually in a business partnership like this right now where I'm actually that person. Now, I'm not the mentor in this case. I'm the financer. I'm financing the money to go buy and sell raw land, but I'm not the one buying and selling the raw land. I have somebody else who's got a lot of experience doing it themselves. They want to be able to make money because they don't have to use any of their own money. Think about it. If you could spend zero of your own dollars to make a return, that's an infinite rate of return on your money, which is obviously why you're probably watching this video because you want the infinite rate of return on your money, right? Or the no money at all on doing nothing, making passive income. Well, they got to do something still. They still got to exchange the labor. They're a 30% partner. I'm 70% because I'm financing it. But guess what? They, again, don't have to come out of pocket with anything. They just use their, all the education experience that they've learned over those years to do that kind of investing. I trust them with that, so I give them all the money to back it up. That's how it works, and they get 30% for no money out of pocket. So for them, yeah, it's kind of like something for nothing, but still, they got to put in some labor and time. Same is true for you. If you're going to do something with real estate or even any kind of investment for that matter, it could be in business or whatnot, it still requires time and energy if you're not going to require money. So it comes back to this, right? How do we get something for nothing? Is it possible? Well, no, not necessarily. But if you're talking about no money out of pocket, well, that's where your time and energy will come in. That's why you could do things like partnerships. This is why you can do things like, you talk about house hacking, right? Where you can actually go rent a property and then go rent out the rooms to hopefully pay for your rent and maybe even have a little extra for yourself, right? Those kind of things are great strategies to be able to use where you have little to no money out of pocket. Now, if you truly want to make passive income doing nothing, like what's obviously the title of this video here, if you want to be able to do that, it requires the moolah, right? You got to have the money. The money is the thing that requires no work. Like I mentioned in my example, when I had that raw land partnership, I'm the one financing it. I'm doing none of the labor, none of the work, but my money is the one that's doing the hard work. So if you don't want to be doing the hard work, you got to get your money to do the hard work for you. And that requires you to get somebody else, people, to do the hard work. Just so you know, my dollar bills don't do work for me. They're not like out there like working out and stuff and doing all the things and transacting. The money is useless. The money is just a tool. But it's having those other people, those connections, those relationships. That's what's great. So when you can leverage good relationships, good trustworthy relationships, that's where you make money. Now I'll give you this warning. Many people think if I just throw my money in this thing, whatever, you're gonna pay me the highest return, that's better. That is a risky gambling move to make because there are so many people out there willing to take your money, but there's so few people that have the integrity to make sure they always pay your money, even when things get hard. You gotta find the right people with the right integrity. You can do this one of two ways. One, you build up these relationships over many years. You start to build up those relationships, you start to get to know these people, you start to understand their track record, you get to see what their finances are like, make sure that if something does go wrong, do they have other assets they can cash into to help bail it out? Really, you're doing the same thing that a bank does. When a bank says, show me your finances, show me what you got, let's see if you're a safe investment for me, and if not, I want to make sure I can take that investment. And that's one thing you can do to protect your money too, is maybe you do an investment where maybe you're lending to that investor, but you're the one that owns the property until they pay you back, right? Until they could sell the property and pay you back, and then they take the rest of the money for that. That's where short-term hard money lending can be a great option. Where I've had a few clients recently where there's a guy that said, hey, I've got properties right now. It's got $150,000 of equity in it. I just need $200,000 from you. You do the math, you're like, wow, that's 40% equity in that property. I'm only lending on 60%. Now banks are much more willing to lend on a property if they know they have a lot of equity. So same thing for you. You have some safety because you say, well, if I lend you $200,000 but it's worth $350,000, worst case scenario, you don't pay me, that property's mine. I'm going to foreclose on you. I'm going to take that property back and then I'm going to sell it and get my money back and then some. Obviously, the real estate investor does not want to lose the property. So they're going to do everything possible to make sure they're going to honor and pay you. So that's a great way to make money with your money, is by being a lender, by essentially becoming the bank. Instead of them going to the bank for money, they go to you for money because it's a nice, private, easy transaction. You get that relationship, especially if you've developed a good relationship with good quality people with good integrity, and then you can make good money. And that's where you can make amazing money. Sometimes you can make better money than even in the stock market with less risk doing it that way. Now you can also do things where, yes, you could own real estate properties, but again, somebody else manages the property for you. You just manage them, all right? Again, it's never that you do nothing. Right? There's some times where you might have to still have a little bit of effort and have some oversight and management of these things. Because whatever you ignore, it's going to leave you, right? If you ignore your money, you'll lose it. Just like if you ignore your family, you'll lose them too. You ignore your health, you'll lose your health. You got to make sure you're watching over your money and your investments. So don't think you can just do nothing. But yeah, can you do something where you just, again, get your money work harder for you? Absolutely. I got money in deals just like I mentioned there, where I'm lending out money. I've got money in properties, actual properties where somebody else manages the property for me. I've got it in partnerships like I just mentioned earlier. I've got money in things like even business interests, or even things like that pay me royalties with like oil and gas investments and things like that, where we have ownership in the land, and then that land we get paid royalties from the oil companies and things of that nature. There's so many different ways to do it. Heck, you can even get into apartment buildings, you can get into self-storage, you can even get into franchises for that matter, like car wash businesses or whatever it might be. There are so many different ways to make money in this world, which again, your money goes in, but it goes to that operator. And so your number one thing is, if you want to make sure you can make money doing nothing, especially passive income doing nothing, it's got to be putting your money with somebody else, and that's somebody with good integrity, good intentions, and they got good financials, good money management, and good business management to make sure that your money comes back to you. That is the key. Now you can either do that yourself, which is really hard, or you can leverage somebody else to do it for you. What I recommend is this, because we have even our own network as well. First step for you, go to moneyripples.com, go click on the passive income calculator, just first to see what's possible with the money you have. How much passive income could you actually create in your situation in the next year or so? Go try that out right now at moneyripples.com.